Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where the orchard of wisdom shows are at your fingertips. It ignites your soul, your heart, your spirit, your mind, and your body with illumination from people who have made the journey before you. They're here now to help you on your journey, on your path of self-discovery. We are funded by you, the audience, and the people we interview. If you wish to support us, please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com and press on our Fund Action button. Anything is appreciated. We'd like you to sit back and enjoy the shows. Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest from the States, really from all over the world, is Ruth Yunker. She's an author, she's a humorist, she's a 72-year-old expert at aging vivaciously. And if you see her and look at any of her posts, you know that she's got that down. She is an author who's written 3 books, 2 on traveling solo to Paris, and the third, Baby, I'm the Boss of Me, tells us how she found herself at 72 and feeling better than ever, at the top of her game, in fact. She's traveled wildly, lived in many places, wildly and widely too, and she's raised 2 children, and she's finding out that getting older is not the end of the world. In fact, it's the beginning of an amazing journey. This unique part of our lives, by staying curious and open, by nurturing your sense of humor, it becomes an amazing journey, and it certainly has for her. We're going to discuss age and traveling solo and health and exercise and humor and personal bravery, beauty, fashion at every age, parenting, and the most important factor of aging vivaciously. Where is our humor? Where do we find our difficulties in life? Are we baby boomers? We're still kicking. Are we wise yet? Oh, that's a big question. And what are we afraid of as we get older? There's so much here to talk about. Let's dive right into it. Because, folks, if we're not living, we're dying. It's as simple as that. If we've still got a heartbeat inside of us, it means that we've still got some life inside of us and ready to spend. Welcome to the show, Ruth.
Thank you for having me. This is great. I'm going to enjoy it, I'm sure.
Really, life is an attitude, isn't it?
Well, it turns out, when I was younger, I was pretty serious. I am serious, actually. When you're a humorist, those are the most serious people in the world, I think, personally. They go home and are angst-filled of everything, and then they have to start laughing.
Yes, otherwise you'll lose it.
I know, and it seems to be, I don't know if it's been this way throughout history, and I think people don't think about history often enough. But anyway, I don't know if this is a popular thing these days, this wailing and bemoaning and all the rest, with all good reasons for it, but there's just as many positive reasons, and it doesn't seem to occur to so many people that putting out positive vibes is just as powerful as putting out negative ones. Mm-hmm. And it's also that you're not less intelligent if you're able to be happy. Some people think being, up on politics and the world situation, which of course is appalling. There's so many of them. How do you pick and choose? You know what I mean? And starting from your own family, you're bound to have somebody in there who's like losing it right now. I mean, but I didn't, as a kid growing up, I was a new kid so often. But I had a loving family, very strong parents. There were 6 children. We got moved in a clump. So, I had a good basis that way. But yeah, the hitting 70 shocked the heck out of me. And I wasn't even going to mention it on social media. For 2 days, I kept up that, and I thought, this is ridiculous. You have to own it. And then suddenly I was 71. And then more dramatically, I turned 72. And that was when the word ageless, actually, the true meaning of it hit me, because I didn't feel 16. I didn't feel 98. I didn't feel 35. I just felt like me.
Yes.
On that day. And I looked in the mirror and I just thought, you know what? I don't know what my age is anymore. I'm not going by that.
Right. I love it. My chronological age is 67. But, there are times that I feel like 30 and times I feel like 90. It kind of depends on what day you're on, right? But it is, life is an attitude, and I think it is a gratitude. And I think as we get older, we learn to be more grateful of what we do have and not what has been. And it really, I think we slow down a great deal and look what is in front of us. And there are some wonderful things in front of us. There's some wonderful, simple joys that we can enjoy in life, and just live it with exuberance and with curiosity. And I think that one thing that people lose in their life is curiosity, that wonderment for life. Well, I've reached a certain age now, nothing else is going to happen. This is it. No, it isn't. You still got the paintbrush in your hand. What else are you going to put on that canvas?
Right. And you know what it is, though? It is a learned way of being. It takes practice, at least for me. It takes practice to say, I'm going to be in a good mood today. I always say, look in the mirror and smile at your face first thing in the morning, because you're sending the message to your brain that you're happy, even if you're not. Fake it. Fake it till you make it, that kind of thing. This morning I sent a text to my daily good morning, to my daughter, sent her a text saying, I don't know why, but for some reason I'm in a ridiculously good mood today. I think I'll have a cup of coffee and see if it calms me down. Yesterday I was dragging and, getting through. I had a great day, of course, but sometimes it's just a feeling that washes over you.
Yeah.
I had a friend once who said, I just put on sad music and get to feel really sad, until one day I said to myself, why do I want to feel sad?
Yes, exactly. There's plenty out there to make you feel sad, right? We don't need to impose it upon ourselves.
I think some people think it's a noble way of being. That kind of existential despair stuff. The French have a lot of that. When I can make a true French, not my American expat friends, but a true Frenchman, even laugh, and I have to do it in my broken French, I am thrilled. It's
well, you talk about humor. And you put humor and politics in the same sentence. And the only way that I could actually watch the news is people. I know, but I can't. I watch Trevor Noah. I watch Colbert. I watch them because they're going to give you the facts, and they do it. And Trevor Noah is extremely good at this, because he's very, very good at bringing us in to really what the issue is, but also making fun of it, making light of it.
He's very good, but he's on too late.
Well, I record everything earlier, so and just watch it later. So do that, record it, watch it tomorrow, right? But he's also, he's a kid that's, his book Born a Crime is absolutely wonderful, but he's got an intuitiveness about him that is way beyond his years. So he really can articulate a problem, but also in the seriousness make light out of it. And whenever he's talking about anything politics, the same with Colbert, etc., sometimes it's so utterly ridiculous. The only thing you can do is laugh. Otherwise, it's like, are you serious? Are you serious?
But people like to go there.
I know. Well, I call the Fox News
or something.
Yeah,
it is shooting. Yay! Where is it? Oh my God!
I know. I'm so bored. Who's being killed now? Yeah, but I say that Fox News takes a pimple and makes it into a volcanic eruption, right? So it's like, and why? Hello, folks. Why are they doing that? Because we want the sensationalism. Why? Because our lives are so boring.
Yeah, that's what I think it is, truly. And I think, and their lives are boring because they have become boring.
Yes.
As you and I both know, you can make a fun. I've said this before. I have a woman who, I have a woman friend who, her husband died, and because people say to me, well, you have money to travel or something like that. I have less money than I used to. But anyway.
There's something about money that it devalues very, very quickly.
Because, what can you do? What can you do about it? So, except whine and moan. But her husband died.
Wine.
Wine. There are other substances. But anyway, her husband had died, and she lived in a little house, and she couldn't go anywhere, and blah, blah, blah. And, but she was but all of a sudden, I don't know how she came up with the idea. She moved her master bedroom into her living room. And after that, you came in through her kitchen, or if you went to her house, because she turned the best room into her house, into her her nurturing place to be, her bedroom. I mean, most of us adore our bedrooms to a certain extent, certainly the bed, you know.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing, is to get into bed at night. I love it. But that's what she did. And it's an extraordinary looking room. I mean, it had the fireplace, it's got the beautiful windows, it had the space. I mean, and it gave her a whole new lease on life, because it turned her house upside down. So she got to turn upside down and stand up again with a whole new viewpoint that affected her in all kinds of ways, you know, that only she can know, but it really did the trick for her in this particular instance.
Whatever works for you. And the thing is, if you're not willing to try, then you're going to get stuck. You know, during COVID, there's a wonderful woman called Esther Schifrin. I've interviewed her a couple of times. She's, I think, 82 or 83 now. But every single day through COVID, she did a rhyme. And, you know, this woman was a prisoner of war when she was 6. You know, she then kind of married and became a different prisoner, because obviously the prison mentality was not a deprogramming done yet. She's incredibly talented. She's an artist. She's a musician. She's an author. But the one thing that she's got is that keeps her, I think, you know, up dancing and doing everything she is doing, is a zest for life.
Yes.
And, you know, that zest for life is something that is intoxicating. It's inviting. Everybody kind of, oh, I want what she's got. And everybody can have it. It's a question of, what do we feed?
Well, and it's a question, of course, you know, I've had a lot of therapy too. My son's a psychiatrist, I mean, a psychologist, you know, all that routine. And also, one does have to take into account how they were raised, you know, what's played into it, and learn how to surmount it. You know, and like, I didn't have serious problems. I've had serious problems. Our family has addiction issues, for instance. And I myself gave up alcohol at the age of 50 when my son, who is now a psychologist, was getting out of rehab. You know, I mean, so it shook our world. And at about that time, his falling apart alerted my family that this wasn't just sort of a cute situation that we had, that we were highly eccentric, but also, you know, addicted to various things, including alcohol. And a new light went through the family. I mean, I got sober, my sister got sober, my daughter at the age of 21, she's a lawyer now. Just so everyone who drank in our family got sober. There were those who didn't drink.
Right.
And I'm not saying people who drink, people who can drink just fine. I mean, I can eat what I want and not really worry about it. So I understand that. But I mean, there's I think another thing I'm getting to that helps one get into the realization they can change if they want, is that everyone's got their Everest. I wrote about that in my book, my particular Everest. And at some point, if you get to one of those where you actually have to jump off the ledge into what maybe it's a divorce, maybe it's an abortion that you know, because the child, or whatever, you know, hideous decisions like that. If you jump into the unknown of something you know you have to change or deal with, you will land on your feet and discover a new power within. That's one of the strongest ways to get it. Otherwise, if you have kind of a middling life, which is great too, then like you're saying, and like I'm saying, start really paying attention to those things you've done 8 billion times a day. Like, I'm so tired getting myself ready for bed at night. I can breathe. Sometimes I'll sit there and say, Mom, she's up and, you know, she's been gone for 20 years. Would you please put me to bed? I don't want to brush my teeth. I didn't put on any makeup. I'm not putting on eye makeup today. I can't. I hate taking it off. Do I take a shower? Yes, because you know, should I do this? There's 8 trillion little things, right?
Yes.
So annoying.
I know. I hear you on that. And yeah, just sometimes you just, you know, wish I'm sleeping with the makeup on, I'm sleeping with the clothes on, you know, and you kind of want to do that, and then little guilt comes in, you know, go brush your teeth, wash your face, get changed, you know, and it's like, I don't want to hear you, but eventually we listen and comply like little kids and go and get ourselves ready for bed.
I have a friend though the other day, she's the same age I am, in her 70s, and I said, yeah, I just hate getting ready for bed at night sometimes. Just gotten so tired. I mean, I'm changing my attitude, because it's like, get over yourself. You know?
Yes, exactly.
So she said to me, oh, I've taken care of that. I get ready for bed in the morning when I get up.
I'm ready for it all day.
Liberate.
Love the attitude. But you were talking about, stepping off the abyss, and I always say step up off blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. And in trust, in faith that you will land where you're meant to land. And even if you're landing at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, that climb back up is the lesson you need to learn.
Yeah.
So it isn't something out to get you. It isn't something out to destroy you. It's something that's happening for you to learn from. And what are you learning? Your courage, your strength, your abilities, your attitude, your gratitude. And by the time you reach the top of that Grand Canyon and you've done it yourself, and you are where you are now, I'm standing tall at the top of this canyon, you are a totally different person.
Right, right. And I think until you've done it, especially for those that just really don't want to do it, and I'm sure you have friends, and I do too, whom we love dearly, that they don't, I've nearly lost a few that I haven't just learned to shut up and say, okay, fine, you want to be 16. I'm really sorry, you're 70.
Yes, yes, yes.
Not my best year, I don't know. Or I want to be 16 with the wisdom I have now. I mean, and people say, well, then you're such a realist. No, I'm not. I'm a writer. I'm a creative. I mean, I have a very creative life. I just know that in order to have this creativity, this kind of creative life, as they always say, the creativity is 1% and 99% of it is dirt work getting there. Writing a book, the idea goes, oh yes, and then it takes 2 years to write that book.
But the content of that book comes from not only your imagination and your creativity, but your life experience.
Yes. Oh yeah, you have to get
otherwise it would be fantasy.
Oh, I know. And you do have to, I mean, and I think that's why, of course, for me, for the pandemic, having to be at home, I have both sides. I love to stay at home.
Yes, yes.
I just love it. And now life is picking up again, and I'm kind of resisting. Yeah, I'm not resisting it, but I'm just like, oh my God.
I know. I hear you. Yeah, I'm the introverted extrovert. Everybody assumes because I'm doing this, I'm extroverted and I'm outgoing, but really I love my own space, my own time,
Right.
my own place here. And it's like, but how can you do that? Because you look to be so flamboyant. Well, there are the flamboyant moments. You've got some wonderful photographs. I absolutely love the one on the top hat, kind of the one where you're squatting down. I wanted to actually put that one up as your profile picture for the show. Unfortunately, it came out a bit blurry, but I love that one. The exuberance of your smile, this, the way you're dressing, just even the tilt of the hat. It's about your living. That's quintessentially what it is. You're participating in your life. You are living. But people see that and think that you have to be on all the time or you have to fake it until you make it. It is who you are. But you can be like that because you give yourself enough time to be who you need to be for yourself.
Exactly. It's important. It's important for me. When I first got sober, I went to AA. I don't go as much now, much to the distress of some of my friends, but it was wonderful. At the same time, before I had just started yoga. So the two just melted.
Yeah.
And I believe in therapy. So, and I was raised Catholic. So that's, and I love the groundness of it. I don't go to church particularly. Churches. They make you go to mass every single Sunday the entire time we were growing up. The minute I turned 16 and got my driver's license, I said to my parents, I'm going to drive myself to mass, and then I'd drive around for an hour and come home.
Right.
But I love spirituality. I love having, I think that wherever one finds it, whether it's the ocean, the cathedrals, which I love, or my yoga practice, magic. When I married my second husband, who was Jewish, he said, I actually don't really believe in God right now. Well, we couldn't let that pass. I wasn't going to go on forward if that was going to be his, annoying way of convincing himself he was going to live his life, and he gradually relaxed on it because he was just mad at it growing up in a tough, strict family, so I think people should lighten up on the religion subject.
Well, you know,
Everyone has their own
the
way.
spirituality and the religion kind of get mixed up. And,
Yes, they
you know,
do.
the spirit is the spirit of your life. It is
Yeah,
knowing that there is a higher force that comes through you that ignites your heart, soul, and spirit into action. So your mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. And you are living presently in the moment, in the gift of the now.
that is a very good way to put it, Sarah.
It isn't about, you know, being of servitude. Life is being of service. But, you know,
Yeah.
what kind of service we are, you're being of service by your exuberance, by your writing, by your attitude, just by being an inspiration. And inspiration begets invitation. Because when people say, well, you know, what is it about her life that, you know, is so joyful? What's so different about her than the way I'm living my life? And even if it poses that question, and somebody turns around and looks at themselves and go, well, maybe my life is boring and drudgery because I'm not doing anything with it.
Yeah, it's whatever their excuse is.
Mm,
I mean, I started off whining about something last week to my son about something that I want, but it was going to entail a lot of driving, which is my current nemesis here in Southern California. I had broken down and gotten a tiny little tough car that can park anywhere, that kind of thing. I used to love to drive, but now after living up in LA, that broke my spirit entirely. But I was starting to kind of like, oh my God, but the driving that much, and he just went, Mom, don't even go there. I mean,
yeah.
43-year-old son, saying, you want this, so
Mm.
don't whine about it. Figure out. Then he explained how I should use Waze or really learn to use my GPS, and it wouldn't be such a hassle. And I love it when our kids get old enough that you actually want to hear their advice.
Yes, oh no, I'm at that stage when my kids are 33 to turning 40 this year.
Yeah.
And if they've now, you know, taken me or I've become the kid.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I
And it's
mean,
like sometimes you feel like a little old lady and it's like, I'm not
well,
there
yes,
yet.
there's that. This apartment, I think you can see the stairs. I'm upstairs on a duplex. I haven't owned a house since I sold my last one in 2000. And well, I lived in a family house for years, but I just don't want, so anyway, it's perfect. But I was showing my daughter that, yes, it's got this and that. You're showing her, and she went, Mom, I'm concerned about the stairs. I mean, I'm the one who's in shape. She's the one that's sitting on it, being the layer. I said, there are 6 stairs. If I fall down those stairs, then, just put me away now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to fall down those stairs.
No,
I mean,
you've got railings. If you feel wibbly wobbly, you hold on to them, and that's that, right? The thing is,
yeah,
you learn to compensate for the things that are no longer optimized, right? I have
exactly.
balance problems, so if I'm going up and down the stairs, I make sure I've got something to hold on to. Doesn't mean I'm
Absolutely.
not going to go up the stairs,
Or
right?
fall down them, right?
Right, exactly. It is, you learn to adjust, right? You're
Yeah.
not the same as I used to be. Why beat yourself up to the fact that you're not? Just be who you are today and enjoy your present, enjoy your moment. And the more that you feed what you can do, the more you can still do it.
Exactly. That is, of course, and this is again with my children's around me, if you suffer from serious clinical depression, that's a whole different story, which we're not talking about here.
Oh, no, I know that rabbit hole, darling. That depression's been with me, you know, likes to, it's no longer, it's actually, it has many, many doors to have to get through to get to me nowadays. But it used to have a swing door.
Oh, that's bad.
Yes.
I get into the ones that go around like this.
Yeah.
I can't get out. Oh my God, there's the door. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I
Yes.
go into them bravely. I even get the suitcases in with me at the house.
Yeah. It's not so bad for me anymore, but I mean, I really do know that horrible feeling of despair and down that rabbit hole that somebody's just gone in and just pulled your guts right out. And there's nothing rational, nothing logical. There is no amount of words will snap out of it that's going to do it. It's either chemical imbalance or, you know, you either need help in order, you know, chemical help in order to get out of it, which I succumb to, but
Good.
I only take them when I need them. When I know, when that feeling is coming up, I go, okay, all right, I acknowledge that. then I go on the pills for a few days to beat it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have other techniques that I use.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
Mine
think
is
everybody.
anxiety. It's this
Yes.
anxiety that I've had to deal with, and which is easier than the depression.
Yeah, because you can actually rationalize with anxiety.
Yes, yeah,
You can,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Or even if it's an unnamed one, then I say to myself, I'm very aware, and now it gets less and less with some of these things I'm doing, it's a habit.
Yeah.
It's just my brain is grooved that way.
Right.
Go, oh my God, I am anxious about doing this, every single time. And it's like, oh God,
Anxiety, you're getting boring. Can you change the record, please?
Yeah, exactly. I'm tired of you now.
Yeah.
Shut up,
Yeah. But we can rationalize with anxiety because it's an old part program.
Yeah.
It comes up, but we can look at it and face it and go, okay, thank you for your concern, but it's not warranted, right? With depression, you can't, but with anxiety, you can. And, sometimes those old programs have really got their claws in, and you may have deleted them to a point, but they're still in the system and they're going to raise their head. Doesn't mean you've gone back to being anxious. It just, you're all right. This is my tendency. I recognize that my body's going in anxiety, right? Take a deep breath, open up the hands, relax the body.
I know. I was coming around a steep curve on a freeway too fast. It's my other problem, because of course I was a little bit late, and it's a long drive from where I was going from here to there. And it's a curve I've driven a million times, and this is just a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden I started to go into an anxiety attack. Get a grip. You are driving 75 miles an hour on a freeway, and you're going to kill somebody if you
pull
yourself together right now. And there's nothing. Slow down.
Yes.
But and also one thing I've noticed since, because I have right now, one of my sisters has a huge fear of driving over mountains, and she's a therapist as well, and she's furious because she wants to move from here up to Oregon where my daughter lives, and she has to drive over a mountain anyway. So maybe that was why I was in my head a little bit, but I noticed I was really clutching my steering wheel. So let go of it, because that's blood rushing into your heart and your head. I know.
Well, the moment you clench up, everything about you now is in panic, because the oxygen isn't getting in there, the blood flow isn't in there. There's no reasoning that your brain can work at. All it knows, it's in panic. So, you take the deep breaths. That's the first step. Get the deep breaths and literally speak to your muscles in order to relax. Right?
And you can, again, my good old son, of course, he's very much a know-it-all, but I adore him anyway. He said, and, close your eyes if you're like someplace where you can.
Not while you're driving at 75.
I'm going to close my eyes and drive on somewhere in the middle of Costa Rica.
The car knows where it's going. It's done this before.
I'm done. In my dreams, I drive the car over the cliffs. I never land. I always and there's the next part of the dream.
Yeah. Well, yes, you're just up into another dimension now, right?
And so, see, this is what you and I are both saying, is look at the work it involves to remain on an even course, to even be able to talk about enjoying the little things in your life. I mean, my first sip of coffee in the morning is almost as good as making love. I mean, seriously, it's like, whoa. And everybody who drinks coffee or tea or whatever they do first thing, and if you do nothing first thing in the morning, and you have no ritual except turn on your TV and listen to the news, well, you're on the wrong track.
You're the Walking Dead.
Yeah. And if you don't want to change that, then don't come crying to me.
Exactly. It's there are what we call professional moaners. They love moaning because they get attention, but it's also the finger pointing. It's the government's fault. It's this person's fault. It's that pointing fault. There's three pointing back at them, but they're ignoring those fingers altogether. Those fingers are saying, what are you going to do about it? What's your participation in this?
Yeah.
What is the solution that you can come up with? And no, too much work. It's much easier to blame.
I know. Well, that's one of the.
But talk about anxiety, right?
Yeah. It's like I had two aha moments like that. The very first therapist I went to, I was complaining about this, that, and the other thing, and so and so and so and so. And then finally, she leaned back and she said, "Well, there's a common denominator in all of these stories." And I went, "Me?" And she said, "Yeah."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other, oh, I forget, the other one's leapt out of my brain, but it's, oh, it's again, what is, something's happened, you know,
Yeah.
and it's all that, what was your part in it? Not that
Yeah.
you're at
Right.
fault, but
Yeah.
what, because if you figure out what your part in it is, then you can change your part and you have given yourself back personal power.
Oh God, yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that. You know, I'm immediately brought up my ex-husband. You know,
Oh, that guy.
yeah. You know, he was a browbeater, never physically beat me, but emotionally beat me to a pulp, right?
Yes.
And then as I started my own recovery, coming back into my own life, doing the things I needed to do to get there, I would say to him every time an argument came up, you know, take it up with your mirror. It's the only one that's interested. And I was slowly taking back my power. But one of the things I had to realize, the reason why he kind of liked beating me down so much is because I was allowing him to do so.
Yes.
When I stopped allowing him to do that and just said no with the force, with the energy, and he couldn't do it to me anymore, then he literally blamed somebody who had helped me through that damn woman she'd taken the control I had over you away from me because she had empowered me to be me. Right? I didn't know who I was because I had to go on that whole self-discovery of who am I now. But I had given them the boots.
Yeah.
Because I had such a low value of myself. He put them on and kicked. That's what he had to own.
Yeah, you know, the day I realized that I was the type that if I was attacked, not, you know, and not even in huge, but
yes.
in kind of moderate on a personal way, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. I would fall back into, well, I did it because of this, because of that.
Yeah.
Instead of the other trick I am finally now at this age, and people are leaving me more and more alone about, you know, they don't, is I don't go into defending myself at all. I attack them. And let them deal with it, you know, because it's, you know, what are you talking about? What are you know,
Yeah.
I have just learned to do that. I've even said that one of my sisters is really much into sort of explaining, even if it was a little social thing, explaining where she was going. No, if that person is like throwing it in your face or something, throw it right back. Speaking of spirituality, spirituality of anger and self-defense.
Yeah.
Never get those up. I mean, you and I are not talking about being little milquetoast. We're talking about, this is talking about knowing yourself so that you know where your power is and pull it out and use it. Don't be afraid, own it.
Own it. And there's ways of doing it too. Yeah. I mean, I live with an almost 89-year-old. She's stronger than I am. She's got such a zest for life. But she declined going to a birthday party the other day because there's one woman that irritates the hell out of her and she was going to be there. And she said, no, I can't be there because I'd probably, you know, because she's a black belt, I'd probably throw her over my shoulder. But she would certainly give her a what for, which would only end up ruining the party. So she said, I'm not going. Right. And it's like, and I'm a little different. I can go into the situations and completely ignore that person. Well, and not let that person have an effect on me. It's a learned skill that I had to learn, right? Yes. That I'm not going to give that person any power over me or any stage in which to attack me. But for her, it will be, hi, she just says, let me get hold of Putin.
Is she an Aries by any chance?
No, she's actually a Cancer.
Oh my God! Well, they're powerful. I have a Cancer moon. That's a cardinal sign, and yeah, they're
and no, not Cancer, Leo. What is it? Oh no, she's a Leo. She's a Leo. Sorry, yes, she's end of July. No, so she's a Leo.
A Leo with a Cancer, a double Leo.
Yes.
You find Leo, and then you find the Cancer once you get to know me.
Yeah. I mean, she could still toss someone. She's, you know, 5 foot dark, and you know, 89, wrinkled as hell. She still could toss somebody over her shoulder. You know,
I decided to try boxing.
I don't know if she's decided that, but she walked up to somebody the other day that she heard in a restaurant that was talking about the reason they loved living in Victoria because there was less black people. And she went up to them and she just laid into them. Don't you know it's just a pigment of their skin? They're human beings like us. The people she was with just wanted to crawl under the table. But she was giving it what for?
I want to meet her. I need to come up to Vancouver and meet you and then meet her.
She's as feisty as hell. feisty as hell. She really is an absolute sweetheart. But you know, I'm the one that I have to be the calm waters around.
Well, or I have a couple of friends where I'm actually the calm one because I was the older kid in a big family, and I kind of, you know, can kind of go there with that if I have to. I mean, I don't really throw my weight around in public except once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh, and it always disconcerts who I'm with when I suddenly rise up on my Leo pedestal and say, "Hey, don't you treat me like that, you know, etc."
I know she does. I'm a Libra, and someone was trying to find the balance in life.
Yes,
But
you are.
what I notice is I go into mama tone.
Ah,
Excuse me, what do you
okay.
think you're doing? You know,
Oh,
and immediately it's like too much like their mothers, and they stop. You know, mothers caught me
you know,
out.
that's a very big thing. And that one I pull out for much younger people if I
Mm,
need to. As I happen to be totally fascinated by millennials. I have some millennial friends, and some of the, you know, some of the stuff horrified by, but other stuff they're so cool in their
I know.
ability to laugh at themselves. I mean,
Yes,
they totally judge everything, but they also judge themselves.
yes. Well, I have three millennial kids, and what you know, my demographics on my site of we're kind of more the 40 plus, and I'm getting the 30-year-olds now to interview, and it's wonderful because they also have got to that stage quicker than we did to realize what life is about and
Yeah,
not to buy into the BS, and
yes,
really to seek out you know, kind of what is their meaningful purpose, how can I have an impact in life, and that
right.
it's not all about the outside in living. So it's absolutely, I love interviewing, you know, the 30-year-olds who've got there because they've got there a damn sight quicker than we did.
And it's because of the internet, which
Yeah.
is that people yell and scream about it. And I would too. I'm so glad I don't have little children right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm glad I managed to avoid that. But that's another thing also, as people always say, the good old days, you know, the good old days, never the good old, you know why they weren't? The people who were living in the good old days at that moment, that was their modern day.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I
Yeah,
remember
we were young once, and we, you know, we
I
were,
was
you know,
person, you know,
yeah,
right. You know, Kennedy was assassinated, Martin Luther King was
yeah,
assassinated, all the rock stars were dying of heroin overdoses,
yes, LSD and all of that. Yes, yeah,
Vietnam, all that stuff.
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't, and I remember reading something Mark Twain wrote about, he was traveling in Paris. I think it was, I forget what he called it, American Abroad or something. But anyway, he's describing Parisians at the time. Sounds like he could have written it today.
Mm,
What he was, and oh, they're this, and oh my God, and that, you know, I mean, it's so current.
yeah.
So, but
There's an experience that I had in Paris I have to share that really was absolutely wonderful. I was staying with my brother's ex-girlfriend at the time, and she was right on the Champs-Élysées. She was managing this apartment for a doctor. So he was there 2 or 3 days a week. So she'd be there to open up for the patients and this and that. And then when it was closed, she had the use of the apartment. So I was staying with her, you know, gorgeous big apartment.
yeah.
And we were on the steps of the Sacre-Cœur steps, and somebody started doing a beat. And I just got up and started dancing. The
Ah,
next thing you know, there's people with musical instruments there. There's people chanting my name. She was an artist. She only had wax crayon or something with her, and she drew a picture of me dancing there while people are chanting my name. Then we all got up and singing and dancing kind of wandered into the Montmartre and then dispersed. It was just like out of a movie. It was an
wow.
absolutely wonderful experience that was just in the moment, which I love, you know, no inhibitions, nothing, just in the spirit of the moment. And it's one that I hold very, very dear.
Oh, I would too. That is, I don't think one could top that. I'm trying to think, do I know?
I'm
No,
sure you do.
that's,
I'm sure you do.
well, I certainly remember the steps of the Sacre-Cœur, and
Yeah.
the true Montmartre is
Yes.
behind the Sacre-Cœur back
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
But that is wonderful. That, and
Yeah.
that's, you know, and that, I think that most of them were probably younger tourists and and they were just like there, you know, because I've lived where tourists are around you. I lived on the beach for about 12 years, and tourists can be so annoying if you're living your daily life and you're going to the laundromat and they're taking their time getting across the crosswalk with their beach stuff and their babies, and they're all happy, and you know, you want to kill them, but they're happy, you know. And then that's the stairs of Sacre-Cœur. I have some wonderful pictures of people, especially if you're taking a picture, say, of your friends, but there's the ones you can see in the, whatever they're doing. Oh, I love that story. Okay, the next time I get to Paris, I'm going to get back over there. I haven't sat on those stairs in quite a while.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
not going to copy you or anything. I'm just
no, well, why not? See what happens,
I
right?
mean, no, but that was just wonderful. I love it.
But I traveled 75 and 76, and there was another time I'm in Greece. Oh no, was it? I can't, maybe could have been the south of France or could have been Greece. I can't remember, but I'm over on a pier and I just started singing. And this guy came up to me and I'm singing my song. He started singing his song, but we were beautifully in harmony with each other. And then he just went on his way and I went on mine.
Oh, that's wonderful. That also implies you have a good singing voice.
Oh God, no. No, but it is I'm very much kind of captured by the moment, and then we get those awful things called inhibitions.
Oh,
yeah, and aren't they a waste of time?
It was very hard to get over, except because Leos always want to put on a good face. They never want to lose face. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Leo rising too, so I'm kind of like that. And the thing is, I finally realized, that when I'm going out there, my second husband and I were walking somewhere, and he's a Capricorn rising, which is very. And as we were walking, I said, I feel like everyone is looking at us. And he said, no. What did I say? Oh yeah. And he said, and he said, I feel like no one's looking at us. Mm. And it was the same situation, Mm. Thing is, they are looking at you. If you're a type of person who's exuberant and
yes.
in the moment stuff, they are looking. So be prepared to live up to it properly. Don't carry it to extremes.
I consider you a very central person in the sense that you are literally living in your senses.
Yes.
Right? All of your senses are alive. You can feel it. You can see it. You turn your eye to it. It rubs off on you. And that is the true sensuality. When you talk about sensuality, people immediately go to sex. But it is solely, utterly in tune to the senses of life. And yes. Being in tune to the senses of life, yes, sometimes it can be very depressing because, rather empathic, you're feeling the sad vibrations that are around you. And there's a great deal of that right now. There's a lot of sadness and suppression around. And as an empath, believe me, sometimes it can be rather stifling. But when you tap into the pure joy, I have a 1-year-old grandson.
Oh,
silly little things he does, those wonderful little smiles that he does. We have gobbledygook talk, and we're both out doing each other, and those type of things just light up your heart, light up your spirit, right? And they're free, right? And who cares if I look ridiculous? It's wonderful to look ridiculous and be ridiculous and act like the baby. It's wonderful.
I remember when I first stopped drinking, and I walked in and really weirded out by it. I wanted to, but it was just a new way of living, free of alcohol. And an alcoholic being free of alcohol.
Yes.
Is a whole different thing of somebody who's not an alcoholic. But anyway, I was walking into Starbucks, and this little 2-year-old was walking out of it, holding on, her mom's hand, and she was kind of on her toes. But anyway, she was about 2, and she was just looking around, she was so excited by everything. And I looked at her and I thought, I want what you have.
Yes.
That is, she didn't have a thing in her to make that move.
No.
But then I also say to someone who is, down now, okay, first question, what did you have for breakfast? Did you have breakfast? Was it a good breakfast? Are you treating your body properly? Because it starts with your body's health, which will translate then helping your brain. It isn't all what's going on there. You have responsibility. And as the older we get, the more we have to do. You have to exercise more the older you get. I told that my father died at 93, but he did not believe in exercise. He was a Southern gentleman, very successful man, but in the last year of his life, he just wanted to sit and read. I finally had his trainer. Anyway, he said, I just come and talk to him. That's all he wants. I said, fine, whatever. Right. But And he didn't have a pain in his body, but he also was getting decrepit. And,
Yes.
stuff that if I'm still alive at 93, I intend to still be as fully engaged as I can be. And I have people say, well, you don't have anything wrong with you. I have plenty wrong with me. I'm
Yes.
72 years old. I have scoliosis. I've been a huge exerciser since the age of 22. I have beaten my body up. I didn't realize that I didn't need to be doing some of that stuff, but I did. I ran for 30 years. I rode horses, ballet and all gym and all that kind of very hard yoga at first, as opposed to much more calm one that I do now. And watching my diet. My son is always on my case. I'm always talking about my son and my daughter, but I just adore my children. It helps if you adore your children.
Yes, it does. It does. They can be annoying at times, but we adore them.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I mean, there are moments. Yes, I know, definitely. But but he's like a big, skinny old woman. You want to be strong. So hence, I was watching a show the other night, and the main character, as an aside, she boxes. That's how she keeps in shape. Whatever. It just briefly will share. But I saw her go into the stance before boxing, and all of a sudden, I thought, oh, I wonder if that is. I'm going to look it up, and I Googled. Is boxing good for arthritic over 65-year-old women? Okay. And it always comes back with an answer. Isn't it wonderful?
Yes,
At first,
yes.
Google could only do a word or two. Now I can do the whole sentence.
Oh, God, yeah.
Green light, Sarah. Green light. Strength, strong. If you have arthritis, don't worry about it. Just get in there, and and anyway. So I'm gonna slowly but surely check it out. I don't leap at all, but I'm going to check it out because especially with the scoliosis, I mean, it's a constant battle that, I sort of slump into it.
Yeah. I have the fibro, so I have to kind of deal within the parameters of that. So, the things like Tai Chi and Qigong, they're slow moving, but, the whole important thing about any form of exercise is keeping the body in fluidity, the oxygen, the blood, the energy, the chi, everything has to run through your body. It has to constantly be moving. And when you end up with pain, that's blocked chi, blocked energy. And that's why, keeping the body moving with yoga, it's always about the stretching and the movement of keeping the body in fluid. So it's find whatever, obstacles we get as we get older, find something that you can do that suits you, and know your body. The days you can and you can't. I have a partnership with my fibro. Some days it goes, tap on the shoulder, I've got you today. All right. And other days it's like, I'm in charge. And we know we've learned how to live with each other and read the signs. And it's don't push through it and then hurt yourself. It's like, I can do this, and that's okay. If I can do more, I can do more,
I wanted to take up roller skating again. I used to ice skate and all that kind of stuff when I was younger. I grew up in Massachusetts where it's cold and snowy. And I bought a pair of roller skates, and I said to the girl, I want these wheels to go, I want them to be loose. I don't want to be tight like you get at the, well, anyway, make a long story short, it was a total failure. And the last time I fell was trying to practice in my living room, and I slipped and knocked I couldn't even stand up. They were so loose. And I used to roller skate, you see. I really thought it's like riding a bike or something. And I'd go to the rink anyway. And that time I really hurt my shoulder. And I just thought, and I said to myself, okay, let's get this straight right now, Yunker. Anything you want to do that requires a helmet, well, except for maybe this boxing, but like riding or skiing or anything where you could fall and have a head injury, you're not going to do.
Right.
Because I got thrown off a horse about 1.5 years ago, and I just thought, now, and I was wearing my daughter's helmet. She's a crack horsewoman and really good. And she said, Mom, if you're going to go on that, would you please wear a helmet? Even though it was going to be Western. And I thought, how hard can Western be? And I was with a friend, and it was her horse. Well, she put me on a horse that was too young, and I was told, and you hold them very lightly, none of this tight English, which is the way I ride. And anyway, he spooked at something, and I knew what to do. I let go. And because he was gone, and it took him a long time to find him. I landed flat on my back, got up and started walking, because I said to my body, okay, hey, we just fell, got a helmet on, let's walk. We're going to walk right now. Don't go into any kind of shock here.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, but it's when you're younger, you fall off the horse. I fell off my first horse at 12 and just kind of laid there till the teacher came up and grabbed me by my throat and said, get on the horse.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I had a fall a few years ago, which was a stupid fall. And literally caught me, my toes on an uneven pavement.
Oh,
And I went down, I think first on my knees and then flat on my face, but the knees threw the sunglasses off and then flat on my face, cracked my nose, obviously bashed my head. And then I just lay there, and I had my son's dog with me. Unfortunately, she just came and sat on my chest. So I was so happy that she didn't run off. And this woman who's cycling was a nurse came by, and I remember everybody talking, and I remember giving phone numbers. And I was so cognizant, and normally I can't remember my son's phone number. It's always in the phone, right? You don't bother to. I knew his number, I knew that number, I knew this, and I knew that, and I'm lying there, but I can't move. I just literally cannot move. And eventually they came, they took me away. I ended up with a years of concussion, right? So and it was a stupid fall. I fell off a rock and snapped 3 bones in my ankle. It's the stupid things.
It's right. I can't do 2 things at once. I mean, I can't be thinking about something else while I'm trying to fry a piece of bacon or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't kind of be doing something over here and reach for that thing over there, even if it's turning off the kitchen light, which is just hitting the wall. It tries, or you stand up and you look for the thing you just put down and it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
My father said, he said, that's household gremlins. They live in everybody's house.
Yes.
Yes. That's household gremlins that live in everybody's house, and they are just taking your stuff away. It's just to drive you crazy. As soon as you make friends with those gremlins, they'll let you find it. Eventually, they will take it away still.
Yes.
And laugh.
Yeah.
But I mean, all those falls are just.
And the things, they do take their toll.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, okay, I know I have balance issues now. I'm going up and downstairs, I'm holding onto a railing. If I'm going down a slope, my kids know to grab hold of me because they know I don't have the balance. It was my son that came and got me at the hospital, saw the face all out here and all of that. And so, he's they know. And it's like, oh, Mom, just do it. No, they know, right? And it's like, when nobody makes a big deal of it, Mom doesn't have the balance. So, and I can't kneel because of damage, but I can't kneel.
You don't have to go to mass anymore.
Right, exactly. But it's like I always make a comment: if I get down, there's going to need a crane to get me back up.
Okay.
So I'm not going to get down there.
I have a friend who says, when I'm down there, I look for other things to pick up at the same time, so it wasn't a wasted trip.
I mean, my grandson has another grandma who's a bit older than me. And they're incredibly physically active. They always have been. She's down on the ground with him. And no, I'm not that kind of grandma. I'll do other things with him. We can enjoy things where I'm not down on the ground. So that's the thing, is don't apologize for what you can't do. There's still plenty you can do. And your attitude over your life of the things that you can't and you can, you just learn to laugh at them. And you learn to enjoy.
Pick where you focus.
Yes.
Or you know what? Step 1, make lists. I'm a writer, right? Okay, so I've got stuff. My desk is huge, but I can't reach any of it. But anyway, here we go. Make a list. I mean, I know this isn't film, but here's my journal. I've been keeping these for 20 years. They look like this. Oh, this is my friend who died. Oh, yeah, right on, exactly. List of the good things and the bad things. Yeah. Or if you don't want to make a list, you're going to get too much. Well, start noticing how much you're whining. I say constantly on my Instagram site about finding the daily magic, finding the daily miracle, or not finding them, noticing them when they leap out and slap you across the face. And stop for a minute and say, oh my God, that was... And that's, it's an instant feeling. It's instantaneous. You don't get to think about it or be scientific about it. Or in my spiritual life, I do believe that some of the people I've lost will sort of say hi and whatever.
Oh, yes. Oh
way,
yeah.
and
Don't
you
need
don't,
a body that's gone.
yes, and you don't analyze it. I
No.
mean, this man, he died in October and he was I loved him, and he shouldn't have died. He did not take good care of himself, even though he was a big man, a manly man, and he liked to pretend he was taking care of himself.
Mhm.
He wasn't. But anyway, but he loved Nepal and Kathmandu in the mountains, and, so he went there as often as he could. So I was late getting someplace a few weeks ago, and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to get there. And that kind of rage,
Mhm.
that's pointless. If
Yes.
I leave on time, what my part is, I never leave quite on time. So I turn the corner and I start to race in the direction, and there's the Orange County, there's mountains there in the distance, perfectly clear. Could see the mountains, see the clouds, and that was him saying, calm down.
Yeah.
Because his love of mountains,
Yeah. Yeah.
And butterflies, once in a while they're my mother, and once in a while they're not. Some butterflies I just go, oh, whoa, hey mom, and
Yeah.
others it's like that. And I think it's like that with, I think people should try. Nobody has to do it anything. They don't have to do anything they
No.
don't want to, but realize all of this stuff leading to a personal sense of personal satisfaction and joy and love and energy and curiosity takes work.
Yes. Yes.
It's
But it's so
practice.
rewarding though.
Oh, it is, but first do I know I'm not supposed to swear, so I'll try not. I've been doing very well. Do the work, and start small,
Yeah.
whatever that first step is. The end may be a year away,
I've had to learn that lesson because I'm a visualer. I see kind of everything. Oh, this, and I want to build it straight away. I want to invite people to it straight away before it's built. And I've had to learn to slow down. But as
Yeah.
I say, the biggest leap that you're going to take is the one to decide to take the first step.
Yes. Yes. Well, I also think it's the first, deciding to take the first step is easier for me than actually taking the first step. I mean, I haven't gotten myself into a boxing studio yet, but I do know where the closest one is.
And when you feel like it, you will do it. And that's the thing. I think this is where we get to that stage in life. I mean, I run this network. I work hard still. I do everything. I wear all of the hats. I'm about to branch off into other avenues as well, because all the people doing the good work, I want to give them even a bigger platform. And yeah, it's what I've learned is that I've tried to work with other people as a team, and it's never worked because they've dwindled off here, dwindled there. Okay, all right, I'm definitely the solopreneur, but my way of working with other people is supporting other organizations and everything that they're doing. I am that database that I call it the orchard of wisdom, ready for picking. Right, so come into the orchard. I've got a tree for you. Well, there's the wisdom ready for you to pick from. And I love what I'm doing. It gives me a reason every single day to get up, to interview people that are inspirational, that are invitational to other people. And I think one of the most important things for us to have as we get older, have something that you love to do that gets you out of bed every day.
Yeah, and if you do, like, it's easy to be grateful for it, because some people really, I mean, especially if you have a specific gift, like, I wish I could sing, I wish I could paint, but I can write.
Yes.
And I have loved that. I remember switching from being a reader to, I always knew I could write, but I didn't want to, because I knew how boring it would be, basically, so I didn't start writing till I was 30, when I got divorced, had 2 babies, and I wanted to work at home, and really started seriously writing then. And I've always been grateful for that.
Yes.
Some people I just don't know what to do, and they kind of swing from here and there. I don't know what to say to them about something like that. I mean, there's something that they know they can do, or I have a friend who does jewelry and painting. She's, I don't think she'll ever hear this. So anyway, but I don't think that's, she wishes she was like that. Her father was a painter, not a successful one. And, but she's never quite satisfied with either one of them. So I for myself, and good thing with writing or what you're doing, there's no time of retirement. In fact,
No.
that's the whole joy of the fact that retirement is hitting the baby boomers, and we're all saying,
Yes.
the
Yes.
heck with that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, the oldest person I've interviewed was 91, and she had started her own TV show 2 years beforehand and taken on a new lover.
Wow.
Right. And it's like, I mean, she's a woman of chutzpah, absolute chutzpah, totally.
I love that word.
And yeah, I mean, it's life is for living, and there are so many people that give in to life is so hard. I just don't want to do this anymore. I just want to switch off from life. And it's like, no, we can turn the volume down on life, on things that we don't want to hear, but we turn the volume up on the things that we do want to hear and be a part of. And that, that's the beauty of getting older, is we can be selective.
Yeah, we can, because, well, hopefully, again, being asked that question, are you wise yet? That's actually one of my last paragraphs. Wisdom is subjective, and I think there's a wisdom involved in every single age.
Yes.
You're in your group, and you know what's right or right. Like when we're raising children, we play God every day.
Yeah.
That's why I never underestimate the impatience of a 35 to 45-year-old woman with her huge grocery store cart of food and her sense of, get out of my way.
Yeah. I'm on a mission.
I get it. I was there.
Yeah.
And you are. That is because every day someone's saying to you, well, is there such a thing as God? Why did the cat die? Do you love me? Does he love me? And you have to answer with confidence.
Yes.
One time I assured a bunch of children, and I believed it too, but that the cat, my children's cat, had just died very unexpectedly, and they were all gathered around me, all religions, being raped, and from Muslim to Buddhist to black, white, and pink. It was about 6 or 7, a little gaggle of friends, and they were just saying this cat it was a shock because they all had pets, and he had died unexpectedly, and everyone, and one of them looked up and said, Mrs. Yunker, do cats go to heaven? And I looked down, and I remember thinking to myself, God, I better be right here. They've got parents. And I looked down at him and I said, of course they go to heaven. They go to heaven because they are just like us. They have eyes, they have hearts. We loved them, they loved us. Of course they go to heaven. And with that, they cheered up, and the oldest one said, let's decorate his grave. And we lived in the forest, and then they carried on. But I'm happy to not have to be the oracle like that. I much rather just say, hey, it's up to you. You're like 60 years old now. If you're not happy, that's your own fault, and and you can change it if you want.
Yes, and I don't need to be around you if you're miserable. That's my choice.
Oh yeah,
right.
I've gotten so much more selective.
Yeah.
About my friends.
Exactly. And I noticed this as a show I was doing the other day, and somebody talking about fewer friends, and I thought, yeah. And it's like, and also I love my own time, my own space, and it's like when I am out with family or friends, I enjoy their company, but I love coming home.
Oh, this is the first time I've managed to live by myself in my entire life, starting 3 years ago. So I was 69 when I finally live alone. And I don't know when I'm ever going to get over that. I mean, you can come over and maybe spend the night, but
I know. I mean, I live with this 89-year-old, and it was all meant to be temporary, but it's ended up where that, although she's got all this energy and this and that, there are memory losses and other things. And so I'm needing to be there for that. And all I want is my own place. And it's like, every time it's like, can I make this happen? I'm just being told, no, you're where you're meant to be.
Well, I moved in with my father after my mother died because I was just getting divorced. I was the oldest kid in a large family, and we had a big family beach house, and that's where he lived. And I ended up moving in with him to kind of be there for. I was okay with it. You know,
Yeah.
I was in my 50s and he was a wonderful man, deserved every minute, you know, deserved it. I saw both of my parents out actually. And
Mhm.
I used to worry about it when I was younger, but
Mm.
when the time came, because I was the older kid, I have an older brother, but he lives in the Midwest and I'm just more pulled
Mm.
together about it all. And eventually at one point, I remember though saying to my mother about 3 years into it, and she was, you know, I was up there, Mom, you've got to do something. I mean, I know you got me here taking care of him. I know you
Yeah.
do, and I'm okay with that. But I need some help here. It can't just be me. My son's roommate needed to get started some remodeling on where they were living,
Mm.
and my son was his roommate actually. He was his mentor actually, and he ended up moving into the beach house temporarily. And it went on till we moved out 10 years later. So there for like 10 years, we had my father in his 90s,
Mm.
me in my 50s, and my son in his 20s, you know, with four cats. Like I had an actual absolute, and my father did not like cats until the end, though. I've got a great picture of him reading the paper, and the cats are all as close to him as they could be. My cat, the oldest cat's on the table next to him. She could be closest, you know. And it worked out, you know, it
Yeah.
really was, it ended up being a very good thing. And so I'm sure you're,
I know that's the thing is that stop fighting it.
yeah,
You were put where you were put for a reason, you know, just trust it.
yeah.
And in a couple of years, my daughter and son-in-law are going to build an in-law house on their property. And, you know, as my daughter says, you know, we've got to prepare for your old age, Mom.
Oh, I know, my
And she,
son-in-law is doing that
yeah,
up in Oregon. I said, hey, just send me money.
yeah. Well,
One
the other
house,
agenda, she's going to have a
yeah,
second
forget the
baby next
place.
year. So it's like having mum near, you know, with the second baby, there's also, you know, that
I
there as
know.
well. But you know, it's they're at that age where they're worrying about me. I'm kind of like, yeah, things have to change for me to worry about myself. But it's just living each day, right? Living each
Yeah,
day. All we have is this moment. We have no idea. I mean,
right.
my mom
I mean,
lived to
maybe
95, but she was bedbound for 5 years and totally crippled at the end, you know? And
that
it's,
was, yeah. I mean, and ready to go. I think there was a point when, I mean, I don't know, but I've seen it in some of the older people I know that they've gotten to a point, and this is if you're living a long life,
yeah,
instead of like cancer, something like cancer taking you out at
right.
73 or something like that. That's a different story entirely. This is just you've reached it, that you may have finally, which I sort of think happens. I have whiffs of thinking of that, you know, like, well, I don't
Yeah,
really care if that doesn't happen anymore. I've seen a lot in 72 years and I've done
yes.
a lot. And I'm just
Yeah.
tired today and I'm going to eat cupcakes and watch TV. You know, that there gets a point where you maybe kind of just, my father said, I've had enough. He
Mm.
said, I really am ready. I miss your mother, you know, because she died 12 years before that. And he was ready to go, you know,
Well,
and maybe that happens. The only thing I fear now with my death, if it's too soon, is the sorrow my children will experience.
right,
I
yes.
know the grief that
Yeah.
I have with
Which,
losing
you know,
mom.
they will have to face at some point. You know, for me, I'm hoping I have at least another 10 years left of me in doing what I'm doing.
Oh my
Right.
God, of course, you're 67? You
Yeah.
have to go up to 87, honey.
Hopefully, you
How
know,
about 93? What about that 90?
as long as I can still hear and see and do, then
I've
yes,
got
you know.
hearing aids on. I've got my hearing aids
Yeah,
on.
I'm terrible with those things. You know, I hate them. But when I'm wearing this, I'm fine. It's just when I'm in a crowd, you know, I have to lip read. So of course, with all the goddamn masks, it was a nightmare. But talking about my,
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
you know, I'm trying to read the eyes of what they're trying to say. But
And I couldn't read the eyes at
and,
all.
oh no, I was trying, but it was difficult. But you know, when my mom came, she was at death's door and she wanted to go, but she just didn't know how to go.
Right.
So you know, a lot of people give social media a bad rap, but it is like an algorithm. What you feed is what you grow. And I'm not going to go down the negative thing. I'm not going to feed that. I feed the positive, right? And I literally ask people, you know, for a prayer for my mom in whichever way they wanted to help her cross over. And she was in England and they had converted the living room for her. And there was a beautiful big bay window. And apparently it was a pouring with rain day. And my sister went to make a cup of tea. And when she came back, the sun was streaming through, shining on my mum. And my mum had opened up her hands and opened up her eyes and just passed peacefully. in that moment. This was within 24 hours of those prayers. And those prayers were not just likes, they were at least 110 people who sent out that energy, that sent out that love. And that's kind of what she needed to get her over, to cross over, because she was having a hard time dying and she wanted to die.
It's hard to die. My father had a hard time too. They wouldn't take out his pacemaker, or the technician would not stop his pacemaker, for one thing. He said, please stop it. The doctor said, we can stop it, you know, and the technician said, I am not going to do that. I can't do it.
Right.
And I thought, it's quite true. Why put it on you?
Right.
And then the doctor said, well, it really will only take 5 days longer. But those were 5 miserable days for my father.
Yes.
As much as we kept him medicated. And he was a happy, that's where I get my optimism. And, you know, seeing that life end made me realize mine will end. But I don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, you know, the thing is, I've been always a knowingness person, knowing what I needed to know when I needed to know it, all through my life, you know, way beyond my comprehension very often. And it's like, you know, when the time comes, you know, all I want to do is just to make sure things are in order.
Yes.
You know, it's like things are in order. You know, I want, you know, these 3,000 shows and whatever else I gather to still be out there, because we shouldn't lose all this wonderful knowledge. And if there's just a few things I want in place, but you know, I'm a reader myself, and I've had many psychics on, and they said, no, you'll go to your late 80s and you'll have a choice then whether you want to go into your 90s or not. So, and I thought, okay, all right, I'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, but I've still got some time under my belt to still continue to reach some goals that I wanted to reach.
You know, yeah, it's, I have the number 105 in my head. A friend of mine and I were very close back in about 1990s in there. And one day we were talking about getting older. Of course, then we were like, you know, barely 50. But still, you worry about things at an early age. And she said, and I said, well, how old do you think you're going to live? I mean, what strikes us? You know, we're also very self-aware and all of that, you know. So, and both of us at the same time said 105. And we looked at each other, and it's kind of like, okay, 105. My children will be old enough to live without me. Hope I'm not decrepit, you know.
Right. But that's really more the fear, isn't it? That we're still cognizant and we're still able to do things for ourselves. You know, I don't want to be physically or mentally crippled. Definitely not.
I have a sister-in-law right now who has Alzheimer's, and
I think it's such a cruel disease. It really is.
Oh, this last time was the first time that she saw me, that she not only didn't know who I was anymore, she didn't like me.
Yeah.
She put her handkerchief, or we were eating at a restaurant, she put it up by her face, and she said to my brother, I don't like her. And we've known each other for 55 years. Yeah. We like each other.
Oh yeah. You know? No, it's just, they're in a different world altogether, you know. And it's sad to see, because what do we have as we get older? We have our memories.
Yes.
You know, we can look back at the good times. We can look back and say, yes, I really participated in my own life. To have that taken from you, you know,
she used to know. I don't know if she's there now, but they're just now going to be getting into assisted living, because my brother is very much like, I can handle this. I mean, but it's too much.
It is, and I've done shows on that, where one of them, Amber, who was actually a dementia nurse, and she eventually left the actual nursing to actually help people who are diagnosed with it, help their families be prepared, help the people with the Alzheimer's or dementia while they're still cognizant to choose where they want to go. To choose what they want to have happen to them, so that when it gets to that point where they can't choose anymore, the choice has already been made. And it makes it easy on everyone else, because there is no preparation for people with the dementia, and there needs to be. Yeah.
And you know, I don't know, I don't think I would have the nerve to do it. I sort of thought she would, but maybe not. I don't know. And not the nerve, but I am so impressed with people who know that that they are ready to go now, and need help. And they need to be able to do it. They need to be able to commit suicide legally.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, you know, if an animal is in pain or it's reached the end of its day, it is compassion to let them go. However heartbreaking it is for us, we let them go. Why are we holding on to humans and making them suffer
I know.
right? Yeah,
And sometimes it's the most quote unquote religious people of all who
yeah,
hang on the tightest. Like,
mm,
no, you're supposed to die in pain. Oh,
right. No, no, folks,
no.
we're not meant to live in pain. We're not meant to die in pain. We're meant to, and also, many a show on how people go out. We don't want people crying and wailing around them. It
Yeah.
is, as we celebrated them coming into life, let's celebrate their exit from life, and speak to them of the gratitude of knowing them, speak to them with love, and let them transcend, ascend with that love.
And let them be saying to us, thank
Yes,
you, for
yes,
everything you've given for me. And I know you'll be sad, but I'm not sad.
right.
In fact, I'm kind of curious.
Yes, what's on the other
What
side of the
comes next?
veil? Yes,
I mean, can you only imagine? I can't imagine. I figure there's no way we can even, and I don't even think it's necessarily the end. I think it could be zillions of.
oh, we have many lifetimes, so we're going to keep coming back here until we get it right. We're very slow at getting things right, um, but also I feel that the whole evolution of life
Yeah.
itself, the whole experience, the whole uh, frequency and vibration that is growing right now, these are exciting times, and I've agreed to come back one more lifetime, as long as I am not going to go through the suffering anymore. That either I'm in somebody else's body or I come back where I can get on with the work that I need to do.
Ah,
But there's some wonderful days ahead of us. But we're in transition right now, and with transition, there's always disruption. But it's
I definitely feel it, and I don't have balance issues like you have, but I definitely will have a brief moment of
yeah,
not dizziness even, but just the
yeah,
little heart stopping thing.
yeah,
And I know it's because of the changes I'm making in my life. I know it's psychological. I do
yeah,
not need to run to the doctor, and
right,
I'm excited by it because that
yes,
means I'm more excited than I think, and maybe these are bigger
yeah.
leaps than I think. Now all I need to do is fall in love and see if I can actually man up and do that properly.
Yeah, like I'm at a crossroads with that. My kids, Mom, we want to see you date. And it's 21 years ago since my ex. I had a brief relationship with someone after that, and it's like,
Like,
yes, I would love to have somebody in my life, but do I want full time? Do I want to be washing their socks? Or is it just having something that they live somewhere, you live somewhere, and you get together and have fun and then bye? It's it's
I
like,
have a friend that I really love him, and he and his partner don't live together, and
mm,
they're in their late 60s. He said,
mm,
we live close. They both
yes,
had long-term partners in the past. They've been
right,
together now about 4 years. And he said, we live close, and we're monogamous,
right.
with each other. It's a love relationship, but they don't live together, and
I
they are in pure heaven. So there you go.
Yes, no, I think that if I do go down that road, it will be how it has to be, because I really do enjoy my own time, you
Oh, I
know?
do. And I just say to the universe or whoever, I'd say because plenty of almost right people
Yeah.
pass
Yeah.
crosses, or if I really wanted that, if that's was what I wanted, because I don't want to get married again for sure, and I'm not
Right.
too sure about taking care of an old man after my
Yes.
father, who was as gracious as he could be, and he was my father, so he was totally on whatever you want,
Yeah.
just stay here, please. That kind of. I mean, I got to travel when
Mm,
I was with him and stuff like that. So the whole idea of just taking care of an it doesn't appeal to me.
right. Exactly. And I think it's that's the gift of getting older, is kind of being more sure of what you do want and what you don't
Yeah.
want. And you know what? You don't need to verify or justify it with anyone. Right? As
No.
long as it's not hurting anyone else or at
No.
anyone else's expense, this is your life to live. We've raised our children. We've
Yes.
done all the duty. It's our time.
Yeah.
And it's our time to do what we want to do with it. And yes, we can go and have time with grandkids, time with kids. Next week I go and have time with my two adults, son and my other daughter. I'm
Yeah.
going over there to have quality time with them.
Good.
That's that I work pretty well 7 days a week, and then I go and take a week off and see family, and
I
friends.
work
So
one day and take off 3 days. I'm terrible. It's not that. Really, I'll go, oh my God.
well, I can do anything from 4 to 8 shows a week. So and it
That's
depends, but
amazing.
the next week I won't be doing any shows. So the week after, I would just resurrect a few old ones, but there's plenty of detail there. But, and that's another thing too, is I do what I do because I have the conviction for it, to bring people on like yourself who are an inspiration to other people. But you can do things on your own terms, like your books, right? You can do things on your own terms, and then it's done with more conviction. It's done with more, passion, and it's you don't have to worry about deadline and this, that, etc. It just, it will be
I'm the
done when
boss
it's
of
done.
me.
Mm?
I'm the boss of me. That's the title of my book.
Exactly. And that is so utterly important, because
you are the boss. The bottom
yeah.
line is what the message underneath everything we're talking about too, from the spirituality to the strength to the power of the body. You're the only one who can make yourself feel better.
Absolutely.
You're the only one who can do that. You are the only one who's going to be there when you die. You're doing that by yourself. So may as well, get used to, and I think one of the hardest nuts to crack are those that say, but I'm helping somebody else. I'm being useful to them. Meanwhile, I'm dying here.
Right.
Selfless, being selfish, that comes from being, taking care of self. Like I used to write a column for single mothers years ago, and I'd say, you have to take care of yourself first. Like when you're on a plane and they say, put the oxygen mask on you first.
Yes.
Then put it on your child. That's so you'll be conscious for your child.
Yes. You're no good to anyone depleted.
Yeah,
right.
Being a martyr is a total. I wanted to be a martyr when I was 9 because I grew up in Catholic religion, and martyrs were quite interesting looking to me. By 12, I was over that, and by 15, one of the nuns at the school said to me, "Are you interested in vocation?" And I went home to my mother and I said, "One of the nuns said to me, am I interested in having, becoming a nun?" She said, "Do you want to be a nun?" I said, "No." She said, "Then you don't have a vocation. Don't worry about it."
Right, exactly. I inherited martyrdom from my mother, and yes, I can be of the martyr, and I do have to be careful of that. My kids are great ones to remind me of that.
Oh, I know.
Right, because it's an old patterning there, which I'm slowly deleting, but being the boss of you that means you're in charge of your choices. You're in charge of your actions. You're in charge of the people who are around you, because if you don't want them to be around you, don't have them around you, right? And it's everything you do is your choice, but you've also got to own it, right? And whatever happens, good or bad, it was your choice. If it's bad, what you're going to do about it? If it's good, it's clearly working. Keep on doing it.
Yeah. And eat a good breakfast and go to bed on time.
Yes, or never get out of bed. Well, no, we want you to get out of bed.
I go back and lay on my bed quite often because of my back. I have to lay flat on my bed, on my back, or my yoga mat, but it's just laying flat, holding the phone up over my face. Have you ever dropped it while you're doing something?
Yes, you're going on the nose, yeah. Yeah, yes, and I hear you too. It just says, okay, right, it's the middle of the afternoon and my back needs a rest, and I'm going to go and give it a rest, and I don't have to have permission from anybody.
Exactly. And it's called honor of the nap.
Yes. And so many cultures believe in that nap, and I do too. So,
oh my God, I love that nap. I don't like them if I really fall deadly. Well, I don't. They actually really last maybe 15 minutes to half an hour.
It's a recharge, right? Just a recharge. So tell us about the other books as well.
They're sitting over there. My two, so I have Baby, I'm the Boss of Me, which is my current one, this one. And then my other two books, wait a minute, not going away far.
Well, Me, Myself, and Paris.
Yeah, and that's the other one. For some reason, I only have one copy of it in the house. I don't know why, but anyway. So Me, Myself, and Paris was my first book about Paris. And the second one is called Paris. I've grown accustomed to your ways, which is a play on the My Fair Lady, I've grown accustomed to your ways. Because by the second, I there for a while. Anyway, so those books are about being in Paris on my own. I wanted to be on my own. I went every year for 16 years, except a few off year. and didn't plan it to be that, but that's how it seemed to work out in the end, especially once I could say, well, I'm writing a book about Paris.
Yes.
And I would stay for 6 weeks in an apartment, in an Airbnb or something like that. And I chose Paris, not because I was in love with Paris. I just needed to get away. And I had lived in Europe, as a teenager. So I was going to go someplace different or unusual or whatever, not that, cliche of loving Paris. But I realized one day that since I spoke or used to speak French, I knew it was somewhere in there, that would come in handy while I was in an apartment on my own, like for going to the grocery store, the dry cleaners, that it would be good to be in a place where I knew something of the language. So I reluctantly chose Paris, because I remember not liking Paris at all when I lived in Belgium. I thought the Mona Lisa was too small and dirty. The Louvre was too cold. Only place I loved then was Montmartre, which I loved at the time. This time, it's okay now, but anyway, so those two books are both on Amazon. And so I stayed for 6 weeks, and the first trip, so many things went wrong and so many things went right. And I was already writing humor, and I thought, I have a book in this.
Yes.
Came home and started writing it. And that's when I also decided to only write humor. In earlier times, I've written literary short stories and they've been published and all that stuff. But at that age, and I had just stopped drinking, I thought, I am only writing humor. Or my version, And now I've narrowed it down even to their essay length. I don't try to write novels or anything. I'm terrible at telling the long story. So anecdotal. Yes. So those two books, and then this one, and they're all three are on Amazon.com. I don't know if I have the link set up. No, I just have it at Amazon.com because it matters to Amazon if you buy your book through them. So if anybody gets my book and wants to review it, they have to have bought the book. Right. In the old days, I could give people my book and ask them to write a review, and that was good enough.
No, you have to buy it through them now. Yeah. And of course, it's here on your show page. So, people only, have to go to selfdiscoverymedia.com and put in your name, Ruth Yunker, which is Yunker, Yunker. And people can see, I've got everything on your page. I've got one of your YouTubes, Meet Ruth Yunker. I love that, with the hats and everything. And I've got all your books here. And of course, your site, www.ruthyunker, YUNKER.com. And your blog is here, your Facebook, your YouTube, your Instagram, all of it is here. And I want people to dive in and know more about you, because we've talked just about aging today, and just the do's and the don'ts and the joys and the choice of misery or not, and life is up to you. But we've earned our right to be able to choose to do what we want to do at this age, but just do something because it means something to you, not because somebody expects you to do it.
Oh, right? Absolutely. And I'm going to just throw in one last word here. And also my favorite site, if anyone really does, is my Instagram site, and read my posts, because that's actually, they're going to kind of make up this next book, which is much more, not meditational, but, one a day look at. So, but is,
and that's just your name too, right? Instagram, just Ruth Yunker.
Yeah, you should hear it in French. It's Ruth Yunker. It's awesome. Oh my God. All my sisters have these nice saints names, me, I got named for my grandmother. But anyway, I also just want to say, own being a woman. That is one of my biggest things, is just be proud of it. And, do not let a man run you around, even if he is your husband and you love him very much and he loves you, seriously.
Yes.
Own that. When my mother died, it really hit me that the portal that brought me into this world was gone. Yeah. Because we bring all human beings into the world. And someone say, well, but if it's man, it's like, they have enough power as it is. They don't even mean to be. There's so many wonderful men, don't get me wrong, but they just have this entitlement thing going inside themselves. And I'm sure your sons and my son, because they were raised by us, so they have much more of a, even Steven type thing. I remember my second husband and I arguing about, why should I put the toilet seat down for you? Why don't you leave it up for me? He said. I said, well, I might fall in the middle of the night. He said, well, all right, that's a good point. Okay, I'll put it down. But you know, my son has plenty to say about how he's still single. He says how hard it is, you know, to date a woman these days, you know. So, but still, we should honor how strong we are, and
Yes,
we do give
exactly.
birth to those children, and it doesn't make us the sweet little nurturers. It makes us strong, powerful woman, where we got to play God the whole time they were growing up. So we're practiced. So, you know,
Yes.
in my country, I say, elect a woman for Pete's sake.
Of God's sake, please. Yes, yes, yes. And you know what? I mean, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, it's, you know, be vivacious, be flamboyant. You know, just because you reach a certain age, well, now I should dress like that. No,
Oh,
you know, dress. I love color. I love, you know, I'm always dressed a little differently than other people. And I'm a bigger woman. You've got a beautiful body, so much easier to dress. And I've got a lot of big lumps and curves, etc. But, you know, it's like, if it makes you feel good to
yeah.
dress a certain way, for God's sake, dress that way. It's,
Oh,
you know, it's an
I
extension
know.
of you. Don't hide behind of, well, I'm at this age and I should dress like that. No, you
Is
know?
my skirt too short?
Yeah.
Well, no. If you like what you're wearing, then wear it, you know.
Yes. Yes.
I
No,
mean,
you know, you know, I did see a picture of a woman whose breasts were quite low down and she had tattooed on them um, dogs' faces, hush puppies. And so she just walked around in shorts with the hush puppies showing. And I thought, okay, that takes a great deal of guts, and I'm personally not going to go that far.
yeah. Well, I've got my hands are just a disaster because you know you can't get. I've had a facelift, and I believe in Botox and all that stuff, and you know as much as I can do it very good. But I only do it if I am in good shape. You know, I feel
Right.
like I know that won't fix anything. But you know, our skin gets beaten up. My hands. I said to once to some doctor, "Well, can I do my thing?" He said, "Well, you can do this, that, and the other thing." And I went home and I thought, no. You know, they look just like my mother's hands
Mhm.
do, and you know, I can't, I'm not, but I've thought of, I love those henna tattoos all over the,
Yes, yes.
I just personally am afraid of that ink being in my skin. I mean, you
Oh,
see
I've
some
got
of
a
the,
tattoo. It's two butterflies meeting, forming an X, which X in the Celtic runes is partnership. And so I have two butterflies that meet and forming the X, and it's a partnership with my children.
oh, see now that's wonderful. Because when my mother died, my daughter said, why don't we all get butterflies tattooed somewhere on us, wherever we want, in honor of her?
Mhm.
We all, none of us, I don't think any of us have. No, none of us have to, not even well, maybe the one nephew maybe. Anyway, none of us have tattoos, but I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Did it
Yeah.
heal up? Okay.
Oh,
Oh, this is
yes, I've had it
wonderful.
recolored since then. My kids will watch me thinking, is it painful? I said, no, it's actually kind of rather pleasant. So
Oh,
the second time having it recolored was a little more painful. But yeah, no, and I've got one daughter, my pure beautiful butterfly, she's covered in tattoos because tattoos kind of mark where she's been and how she feels. And
I
but
mean,
it's
yeah,
her, you know, it's she's the traveler.
yeah.
And she has the white bum series. Wherever she goes, she has a picture of her white bum looking over something. She's the free spirit, totally.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
although she looks totally different to me because my ex-husband is Chinese and she is petite, and she doesn't necessarily look Chinese, but she's definitely different looking. Everybody knows that we are mother and daughter because the spirit's the same.
Of course, and they say that that often happens with adopted children that they will end up
Yes,
looking like because you get their mannerisms
yeah.
and
And also, you know, maybe somebody else gave birth to them for you. You know, that maybe they were a child in a past life, and you know
yeah.
they would find their way to you one way or the other, right?
You know,
So
I have a friend right now who's I'm finally beginning to think maybe she has a point because we've had this on and off, you know, friendship, or whatever you want to call it, you know, but volatile relationship for like 5 or 6 years, and we're both older when we met each other. And finally she said, I think the only reason we still even, and now she doesn't live here now, so thank God. But anyway, I think maybe we had something going on in a past life
yeah,
and I'm trying to figure it
yeah.
out now. And all of a sudden the other day I thought, wow, you know, because I totally believe in
Oh yeah,
whatever. I'm
yeah.
open to it. I think there are little spirits in the house with me here, you know,
Oh
and
God, yes. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
don't bother me and I won't bother you. Or if
You're right.
you're unless you want me to, but it's
Yes.
gotta be nice. I'm in a
Yeah.
good mood these days. But yeah, it's very interesting, the whole, and everything is interesting. Don't you think? I mean, everything doesn't matter. The lamp that's shining in my face is kind of interesting. Interesting shade. The friend who helped me pick that out. That
Yes.
where your mind will go.
Right, exactly. And the thing is look to what is interesting. The people that say that life is boring, there's nothing in it, you're not paying attention,
Well, you're
right?
not, and you have become a boring person.
And you're not engaged in life. The life is
Exactly.
absolutely wonderful
There's
in
no
its simplicity,
curiosity.
right?
Yeah, the curiosity
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
is so
yeah,
important, and being open. I mean,
yes.
that's another one. I just am not going to go into that transgender thing. Oh, honey, ignore it if you don't like it, but don't disapprove of it.
No, the RuPaul
Don't know
series
anything
is
about
wonderful.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
be grateful you don't have that issue going on. Then
Right. Well, one of the shows I love, I used to love the Golden Girls. I just, love the humor of it, but I also love Grace and Frankie.
Oh yeah,
And it just, it is just kind of making fun of us getting older. And you know what? If we can't laugh at ourselves at this age, then for God's sake, lighten up, right? You get up from the couch and there's a fart. you know? Or you get up and you can't stand up straight,
oh God,
something
that's
goes
me.
like, yeah, exactly. And it's like it's you've just got to make fun of yourself and lighten up, because as I point out to my kids, you too will reach this age. So
Oh yeah. I
so
mean, the
just
parents
love.
did, so
Yeah,
we know, But yeah, no,
exactly.
it's lighten up and take care of yourself. Be deadly serious about how your health is, whatever your
Yes.
conditions are. Deal with them.
Yes, don't ignore them. They're not going to go away. Pay
They're not.
attention to them, but don't make them your enemy.
Oh
They're
yeah,
along for the ride. What can you do to make sure they're not dominant in your life? They're it's become a partner, and respect when it has a bigger voice than you do, but don't let it control your life. You are not whatever your disease or your condition is. Your
yeah.
condition is just a part of you.
And the biggest thing working there for you in whatever way is your brain, your
Yes,
mind, but your
yes,
brain. You have it. I finally, I'll say like, oh, the skin on my hands and all that, but I remember, whenever it was that I suddenly said thank you to all this skin on my body that's
yeah,
gradually sagging in spite of it, because it works the hardest. It's the one out
yes,
there holding everything in. Now I've moved on to saying thank you to my organs, even if I'm not
yes.
sure exactly where they are or what they do, like the spleen, for instance. Um, you know, um, I tell them thank you, and I
Yes,
pour more water down my throat.
precisely, exactly.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
learn to appreciate what is inside of you in every way, and
And
to look after yourself, and have that good attitude in how you live.
yeah, and I think we're a team, our
Yes.
bodies and ourselves and our brains, and it's just us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like get in the car by yourself. That's really the way it is, regardless of how many people you have at home for
Yeah,
you or out waiting out there. It's all about yourself, and don't take it too seriously, or
exactly.
take it dead seriously, and then chill out.
Yeah, exactly. Even with the ailments, things like this, I'm an asthmatic. I had an asthma attack in the middle of one of my shows. Fortunately, it was with a mother who had birthed 13 children, and and I've never seen myself have an asthma attack, and my face was contorting, and
Oh,
like as everything about your body seizes, so I couldn't even kind of get to pause, and she's just, it's okay, dear, take your time, dear, it's all right. And then I got to my asthma pump, took the asthma pump, everything settled down, and then carried on with the show. And in the editing, I looked at this and I got, oh my God, no wonder people look at me so freaked out when I have an asthma attack.
oh,
Completely
that's a
spazzing.
scary one, though, asthma.
Yeah, it is. I'm so used to them now, and you never know when they're coming on. You can just intake it the wrong way. But it is like, I thank God it was her that I had that asthma attack with, and not some poor business guy that's just watching this woman going freaking out. So, and the thing is, you just carry on. You just do what you need to do, and then you carry on, right?
Yeah, and if you're the person who is seeing the person having the problem, don't freak out.
Right.
Help.
Yes.
help.
Yes,
Immediately
because don't add to
soften
the
your
stress.
body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
soften your body and say, this is a human being just like me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let's be there for each other, right?
Right.
Well, this has been an absolute delight. I've really, really, really enjoyed our conversation. And, you know, the message is don't take life so seriously until you need to take it seriously.
Mhm.
All right. And just look at life with a touch of humor. But for God's sake, get out there and live life, live it exuberantly. Don't let your age or any of your conditions get in your way. Life is to be enjoyed, but it doesn't mean you have to have the foot to the pedal all the time. You can enjoy it
Oh,
in second gear.
you can have a bag of barbecue potato chips if you want.
Exactly. Exactly. Right? Exactly. Do not deny yourself the pleasures, but also make sure they balance out with what your body needs. Right?
Yeah, because it's work to be happy, and
Yes.
but it's pleasant work. I mean,
Yes.
it's pleasant. So you're the person who's going to get the reward. So
Mm.
again, it's up to you.
Yeah.
And you took care of your children, now take care of yourself. Or you take care of your pet, now take care of whoever. Everybody has to take care of somebody in some way at some point in their lives.
Yes.
Now it's your turn to take care of yourself.
And you know what? Give yourself the same amount of love and attention you did everyone else.
And then, yes, because then you're going to really start having fun.
Yeah.
When you start saying, oh my God, I can do this. I get to pick it's up to me what we're watching on television tonight.
Yeah. And if I want to flip stations or mute the commercials, I can. Yes.
Yeah, it's really, really very nice. And if anyone out there is going to make that a problem, then
Yeah, what can we do?
have at it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, life is an attitude, be one of gratitude, and just simply enjoy the pleasures in life. And, you know, we can all find something to moan about, but, you know, it's like what you feed grows. So if you really want life to still be meaningful at any age, make sure you're feeding the joy. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for being with us, Ruth.
Sarah.
To everyone else out there, remember, it's up to you. You can still have that exuberant life, live life absolutely positively, live it up to the hills. It's up to you, your choice. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. Please tune in to our selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see all the other genres that we have from you. Every week on Tuesday, we bring you new shows from illuminating people. If you know someone that should be interviewed, please contact us at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com. Now stay tuned for your next show.